Faith, it gives us the confidence to question the past. If you know the worth of having a certain belief in a certain thing, then this can allow the certainty in which we wonder when promises are made and measures are bound. You can be sure that a man with faith will have the heart of a lion, the territorial beast that stalks its prey. Be very careful when disturbing a resting soldier of faith. Where exactly are all the statues of much celebrated King Khufu, builder of the largest stone structure in the world? The mighty King Khufu that ordered the construction of the most perplexing monument on the entire planet, the greatest building ever constructed. Here it is. This tiny statuette is the only statue of the great Khufu, the king that they are telling us built the Great Pyramid, despite no evidence existing to prove this. This wasn't even found at Giza, where the Great Pyramid was built. It was found in 1903 by Flinders Petrie at Abydos, 336 miles away from Giza, according to the most advanced measurements we have today. How the hell is it that the guy that commanded so much power, seriously juiced up with more power than Donald Trump and Boris Johnson combined, overloaded with an eye-watering command of the ancient world, yet all of the Colossus statues dedicated to seemingly minor kings who done close to nothing in comparison, yet this tiny 3.5-inch statue is all there is with his image. It wasn't even found intact. The head was missing. They found it 1 month later and attached it to the throne. The strange ears as well have long been a talking point of the weirdness, and the head, which is somewhat too large with respect to the body, is adorned with the red crown of the delta connected to the head. The face of the king is expressionless. He is wearing a short kilt and his right half is naked, with his right hand holding a flail over his right breast and his left hand rests on his thigh. The statuette is identified as Khufu, king of the 4th dynasty, by the Ka name of the king inscribed on the right side of the throne. Petrie immediately dated this statuette to the 4th dynasty on the basis of the name inscribed on the throne, convincing all subsequent archaeologists and art historians of the validity of his assertion and dismissing as superfluous any thoughts of comparison with 4th dynasty sculpture. There is a clear dating problem. We are still relying on scant references from foreign sources to Egypt to assert the dynasties. In fact, it was the priest of the Ptolemies who compiled the list of the Egyptian kings. He was a Greek priest to the Egyptian pharaoh of the last dynasty. His sources from which his knowledge is taken are completely unknown, yet this is what we are using as a foundation in our understanding of who the dynastic Egyptians were and when they ruled. It's completely and utterly flawed, and anyone can see this based on these evidences. The search for items related to Khufu has drawn a blank. The association with the Great Pyramid is mind-boggling. Egyptologists assert that the Khufu Cartouche must have been placed where it is before the block was set at the Great Pyramid. Unfortunately, a tirade of uncertainty surrounds these inscriptions that have been proved to carbon date to the 9th century AD, 4,500 years after Khufu reigned. Now, we're not saying Khufu wasn't a king. Of course, he probably did exist, but nothing really survives at all regarding his existence. This is a force-fitting of history into a contextual grouping for popular belief. In fact, Egyptology would have us believe that this is straightforward, that the fake cartouche and the tiny broken statue are enough evidence both of Khufu's existence and that he built the Great Pyramid because his mark is apparent in this chamber. Evacuated by gunpowder in 1837, one mark apparently read year 17. And this has been taken to mean that the pyramid had reached that level in the 17th year of the king's reign. Did they fully complete the rest in the next 6 years? The entire casing, polishing, etc. Of course, they take this with the well-documented Khufu Cartouche and say that, well, these blocks must have been placed here after the inscriptions were made because some of them are upside down. These are the only inscriptions inside the ancient monument of any kind whatsoever. the only evidence to attribute the pyramid to Khufu, or at least a king called Khufu. Gaston Maspero, the French Egyptologist, says, "Without the cartouche, we should never have known to whom the Great Pyramid belonged. We still don't." According to the Pyramid Odyssey, there is a problem with these inscriptions. One being that they are not the only inscriptions in the revealing chambers. There are much more inscriptions that reads Kunam Kuf. On the Rocks of Sinai, again, we see these inscriptions, and because of this, it raises stubborn questions that will only be answered with further discovery of the ancient things. Kunam is an ancient Egyptian god who was the god of the Nile inundation from Elephantine, where he guarded the first cataract. It is possible that the king Khufu was named after the Great Pyramid and not the other way around. The name Kunam Kuf cannot be a simple variant of the name Khufu, because it suggests that the most important king was that of Kunam Kuf and that Khufu was a lesser king. This suggests to us that the builder of the Great Pyramid is the king Kunam Kuf. This is a variant of the name for the god Kunam. It was the god Kunam who built the masterpiece. But again, we are confronted by a problem. Because this is presented in history as mythology, this is the stuff they are telling us they simply dreamt up. The fact that exact inscriptions that exist in ancient form on the Rocks of Sinai are incredibly similar. And the only other example of these inscriptions existing next to each other, could Richard Weiss have detailed his findings here at Sinai before marking these inscriptions inside the pyramid chamber with red paint? Just a thought. One puzzle after another. One person's understanding and the contradiction of the facts have put the Great Pyramid into the spotlight of researchers the world over. As of yet, nobody has concluded what it was. Nobody knows why it was built, but the obvious answer is that it wasn't a tomb for Khufu. This thing, whatever the hell it is the most mysterious monument in existence. It seems to tease us, as if the answer is sitting in plain sight, like we already know but can't reach the knowledge or understanding at this particular moment. But we will know one day. That is all for today, guys, but we will be back tomorrow with more lost history from Egypt and around the world as we attempt to piece together the things we have all forgotten about. Comments below, and as always, thank you for watching.